Let's move on then to a story, and I wasn't even sure if I should cover this morning, because most of us live in the real world, and most of you people I know, most of the people who listen to the platform, you are not inside the Beltway sort of news and current obsessed nut jobs like I am. You go out, you get up in the morning, you do your jobs, you take care of the kids, you kiss the people you love, you hold them close, you get on with life, you watch a bit of sport, you do the stuff you like, and you're not obsessed about stuff. So I'm not, and you're not on Twitter, most of you. So I guess what I do is when I see a story like this one erupt over the weekend, I'm just careful not to get too interested or too excited. But even our bent, bribed mainstream media are covering this story now. And that is the arrest of a healthcare worker, though he's an Oracle data analyst, from Te Whata Ora, which is soon going to be called the Health Department again, I imagine, or the Health Ministry again. Te Whata Ora. He nicked a whole lot of data, very trendy word, data, a whole lot of information about vaccines, vaccine batches, and results of vaccines and mortality after vaccines. This is COVID-19 vaccines, the evil Pfizer jab. And he got that information, he nicked it, and then he went round hawking his weird conclusions from that data to the anti-vax nutters, to the cookers, to the odd mobs. It is interesting to note that even the rabbit hole specialists at Voices for Freedom and people like Chantel Baker would not run his claims. And my understanding is those groups asked for the full data and to do their own analysis, and he wasn't really interested in that. So where did this guy, Barry Young, who's now in police custody, we understand, who's going to appear in court today, where did he end up? He ended up at the door of our favourite Freemason, Liz Gunn. And Liz Gunn, who doesn't have a journalistic bone in her cooker body, Liz Gunn, of course, bought it and saw an opportunity to be famous again and emote, but not think. So, was it last week, Liz Gunn released the mother of all revelations, which was supposedly this data proving mass murder in New Zealand and why Jacinda Ardern should be arrested for crimes against humanity. Another international anti-vax cooker called Steve Kirsch, who runs around challenging people for $1 million to debate him. He's done it to me. Never pays the $1 million, and he's just a narcissistic wanker by the looks of it. He picked it up and picked up Liz's cause, and the stuff was published. It was very, very soon noted that all their claims of people, and they said literally that people, you know, from one dose of the vaccine, people were like dropping like flies before they got out of where they got the jab. They held back some really important things about this mortality data they were making claims about. That was that the average age of the people who were dying was 81 or 82, and they were dying on average about 200 days after they got the vaccine. And why were there clusters? Because you go to an old folks' home where everyone's dying or closer to dying than the rest of us, and you give them all the same dose of vaccine at the same time. Pretty simple explanation. So these cookers, they couldn't even sell that to mainstream cookers in New Zealand. I don't know what they're doing over at Rabbit Hole Radio, probably losing their minds. Anyway, so this guy peddles this bullshit. Liz Gunn promotes the bullshit in her own job, and she needs to be. I mean, if you're a friend or family of Liz Gunn, for God's sake, you know, reach out to the woman. An intervention is required. And there was pictures of her yesterday babbling sitting in her car in some fantasy world that she lives in. Anyway, this guy's been arrested. Whata Ora are going to throw the book at him for breaching privacy. He's upset the families of people who did die during the COVID vaccine, and he's told lies about why they died. And this whack job, Steve Kirsch, running around saying, I gave a speech in the toilets at MIT. Steve Kirsch is losing his mind and spreading lies about New Zealand as well. What do I advise you to do? To be frank, just ignore it. Just ignore it. Ignore it. Check your Christmas shopping list. Figure out what you're doing for the office party. Absolutely crazy stuff. You know, this doesn't show mass murder. It doesn't show anything that Liz Gunn says. like Liz Gunn said, kids were all had adverse reactions at that chemist shop in Rangiora. Complete bullshit, Liz. You're not a journalist. Even by today's very low standards, you're not a journalist, right? And you're stupid, emotive, interviewing. And Barry Young, I don't know what's up with you, if it's a mental disorder or not. But honestly, people, do not worry that there's something happening that's being covered up. The only thing being uncovered is the stupidity of certain people. There you go, I've had my say.